everybody. Welcome to the first ever podcast of Life at the Doorstep. I am one of your hosts, Hunter Bowling.
And I am Shelby Bowling, his lovely wife.
Yes, the best. We're excited that you are here. Thank you for joining us with our first of many, episode 1. It's hard to believe where things have gone and where time has gone, and we are here now starting a podcast, funny enough.
Yeah, kind of crazy how everything has fallen into place for us. We're finally getting around to this.
Yeah, it's been a little bit nuts. As if you don't follow us already in our lifestyle, it feels like chaos all the time. But controlled chaos is what we like to call it. Super exciting. We're thankful that you are here. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button for what is to come in the future.
So pretty much about this podcast, we're talking about real estate, personal growth, everything from our TV show, business, hectic life with our new baby. She's about 5 months old now. But yeah, just
almost
navigating 6. Our lifestyle.
Yeah. Kind of the point of the podcast is to kind of see what we do, why we do it, and then kind of help you guys grow from there. Whether you're looking to invest in real estate, maybe it's your first time home buyer, maybe you're a veteran. Maybe you want to see what we're doing more on the TV show and why we're doing it with the TV show, with kind of the segments that we have coming up in the future. If you don't know already, we've already filmed our first one and it's going to be airing very soon. So super excited about that.
Yeah, we're having a big watch party.
Yeah, watch party is going to be a lot of fun. So it's hard to believe that this is all kind of coming together. 1st of July has been nuts.
Very busy.
Yeah, if you can't see it on our face already, we're a little bit tired, but it's okay. So
we're more tired from our child that's keeping us up all night.
Currently. No doubt. I don't know, parents, if you've got suggestions, throw them in the comments below because we may need them. But overall, she's a blessing. So it's been a lot of fun. But
let's kind of tell them a little bit about who we are, our backgrounds, why we're starting this, babe.
Yeah. While we're starting, I mean, kind of like we said earlier, was just really helping people navigate lifestyle, real estate, culture, personal growth. I think for us, it's been a massive personal growth as we started a business 2 years ago, which a lot of people will go, whoa, maybe you're scared to jump into what you're looking to do on your own. And even being in the same industry where I was before in mortgage, starting out your own business, not technically our own business, but we are independent. Rough. It was tough. Yeah.
It was tough.
And it was in a hard market where rates skyrocketed, and market slowed down.
Wedding planning at the time. It was just
it was tough.
Crazy. But I'm telling you, the broker world, since he's been there and starting this business, though it was rough, the way he's able to help people in comparison to the retail side where he was is just amazing.
It's night and day difference.
I mean, I knew a bit about the retail side.
Yeah. So my background just a little bit. So, I've been in mortgage now 6 years, which is crazy to believe. But I was on the back end side of loans before, and retail, was in post-closing, managed a big change of law team, things like that. And then they moved me over to the producing side where you speak with your loan officer, you get a loan, you do that. And that was really right before the peak of when COVID hit, rates dropped, everybody in the planet owned a home was refinancing. It was crazy. So
it was a blessing of a time, but imagine what it would have been like had you been on the broker side.
Oh, the broker side would have made a complete difference. And I think the thing that was the broker channel, a lot of people know the broker channel was very, very big when the crash happened in 2008. Yeah. And in fact, a lot of people blame the brokers for what happened. And I think it's a little bit tough to say what brokers did. I think it is extremely a vast difference now where it was in 2008. You had subprime loans and adjustable rates and things skyrocketing, and there weren't limits or limitations to anybody buying a house. It was, if you don't have any money, you're basically approved and go from there. So a little bit of a rough thing. And over the last 5 years, the broker channel has absolutely been wonderful. And I was on the retail side. I was losing every single day to brokers. It was exhausting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'd get their documentation, we called a loan estimate, go get your loan estimate. Let me see what they've got. And I'm seeing what these brokers are doing. And I'm like, whoa.
Well, not to mention that, but watching the stress of seeing how you were so upset by having to literally, excuse my language, but screw people over. The company you worked for did not care about you. They were completely about doing whatever you have to do to get the deal. And
you're a number. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you are
it's
a
corporate.
number.
And I think anybody who's watching this that's in corporate understands if you're in corporate, you are a number. That is just point blank.
Well, and since you've been to Edge, just seeing how much they care about you. I mean, whether it's Chris Hacker, it's Tom Ollis, I mean, they're all so kind in making sure that you're well taken care of and that you're taking care of your people. I mean, they don't want bad business and they don't want bad brokers that are going to have business like that.
No, and I think that's why I chose Edge when we were really trying to make a switch. When you and I kind of sat down and we're like, hey, where's our next place in career? Wedding, we were in the middle of, like Shelby said earlier, planning a wedding, going from there. It was tough. And it was like, how do you go from somewhere where I was, we're basically relied on leads because everybody on the planet was still refinancing, to a self-generating business to where you're out there on the streets, man. It's tough. And you're going, how do you build relationships? How do you build clientele? How do you get your message across? And that's kind of where the podcast kind of idea came in from too, was more of a reiteration than it is new information. And I think that's a lot of what made people like, oh, I'm gonna get new information on this podcast. You might, you definitely might, but I also think you're gonna be getting a true reason of why we've built the foundation of the company we have.
Oh yeah. And if most of you don't know, I am a veteran. So I was in the military prior to meeting Hunter.
Whoop.
He was actually
Go Navy.
Probably still in middle school when I was in.
I have a sugar mama, if you don't know that either, but guess our ages in the comments.
But prior military, then I got out, went to nursing school, became an ICU nurse in the height of COVID. Very overwhelming. Again, I was just a number in a world of hurt, I would say. COVID was a bit of a...
It was a lot of stress.
It was a lot of stress.
And you're taking care of people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's, well, I mean, you could see it on her face. And I think both of us kind of had a very rough couple of years in the sense of where we were at career-wise. It wasn't necessarily maybe the place, it was what we were doing. And because you care so much, it kind of takes a larger emotional toll than it does. Well, the emotional toll moves over to the physical toll for sure, but huge emotional toll for, overall.
Yeah. But, being a nurse, we got pregnant on our honeymoon, which we weren't trying, but we weren't not.
We got little Charlie now.
Yeah.
It wasn't opposed to having a little girl.
So after I gave birth, we made the executive decision that it would be best that I stay home with her.
For sure.
And help Hunter in the company. I mean, it's just taken off. I was always helping, but not to the extent that I'm helping now.
Yeah.
Now that I have the time. I mean, I was at the hospital before, but it's a little bit about who I am, where I've come from. But it's been awesome to be a part of it and just see how much, you do help, and getting to help clients and clients being genuinely happy with, responsiveness and how we've treated them. And a lot of them are buying their first homes or moving across the country. And it's just overwhelming how much, my nursing background has helped even in this small.
Yeah, I think you kind of make that adjustment. I mean, I think wherever you go, clientele and service is key.
Oh, yeah.
But then you add the product side. Why we moved to the broker side, kind of touch back on that, is when you're seeing, if you don't know, HMDA data from the government shows that you save $9,400 per transaction working with a broker over a retail lender. Right. It's massive. And so when you add the service and the quality behind that with also the product, it kind of creates that perfect formula to where, processes are very smooth. I think, what was our average clear to close, like application under contract to 7 closing days? Last one, like 7.6 days. So that's basically, you go under contract on a house today, it's 7.6 business days. You're clear to close.
In the house.
It's nuts. Now, legally, you can't close until the 8th. So sometimes our loans are done before that day starts. But that's a huge piece of why we're able to help our clientele win so much, especially in this market right now that's heating up. Rates are still a little bit higher in this market, but especially here in DFW, if you aren't trying to buy a house right now and aren't experiencing, it's hot. I mean, it is crazy to see the difference. I mean, there was like 29 offers on one of our clients' houses the other day.
I mean, even with the rates being so high, it's kind of interesting to see how many people are buying houses, which, I mean, if you know the housing market and what's going on in it, house prices are just going to escalate. So the best time to buy is now because you can always refinance later.
Yeah, I think for sure. And I think there are definitely bubbles within the U.S. that have that, they're struggling market, but when we speak, we're speaking a lot of it directed towards the Texas market, and we work in other states too, but especially the North Texas market, it is hot. So, that's just a little bit of a background about us. I mean, I think, through that, owning a business, it's very hard. It's hard on your family. It's hard on time. And, Shelby constantly gets on to me like, you need to get off a phone or you need to get off the computer and do those things. And we're still navigating through that because, like we said, we do genuinely care. We do see our clientele want to get into homes.
And that is a hard thing. You have to find balance between, family time, but we're also known for how we respond to our client any time of the day. Yeah. I mean, you could message us or text us at 2 a.m. and we're going to respond, but it's a battle mentally of being like, okay, I promise that I'm going to
words may not be spelled correctly
client all day, but at the same time, I have a family.
We understand their livelihood too. I mean, working during the day, we get it. So there are times of the day where it may not be full chaos on our end, or maybe things that we're working through. And truthfully, a lot of the time we speak to our clientele, it's probably after 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, especially on the weekdays.
I think a lot of it too is like heart and mentality of how are you going to handle those situations, especially for us. It's like, hey, we have to have a hard conversation of an hour a day. We need to put the phone down, or being in communication of how we want to, handle clients versus our relationship and pouring into that.
I mean, and we have to kind of prepare. We're trying to get better about that, but I mean, preparing daily, preparing weekly. I think if, as a married couple, if you haven't already, I mean, Sunday sitting down and looking at your calendar for the week is probably pretty big, and finding time to be able to sit with each other and just be present in that moment, which again, I'm still not the best at, but I'm working on it.
I feel like we've gotten better though. At first we were not.
Well, I think the other part of it was Shelby was at a hospital for 14 hours a day, and I was at home for 14 hours a day working. Yeah. So when both of those worlds clash and everybody's now home, and you add an extra human being with the dog, things get a little intense. And we're very blessed. We have a good sized home, but goodness.
We didn't know how to handle it at first, but now I couldn't imagine not being home. Like, I would miss you, I think.
Yeah, you would for sure.
I would definitely miss
Charlie. She takes pictures of me walking down the hallway, so.
Dad bod.
That's right. I'm not wearing my dad bod shirt today, but I should be. But
can we talk a little bit about the show? So
if you don't know, the American Dream TV, we are a TV host representing the financing sector of Dallas here. Super exciting.
It is very exciting. I mean, again, everything happened so fast. I mean, you announced me coming onto the team at the same time as Peyton is our assistant, but she came and
shout out to Peyton.
She's working. Heck yeah. She's working with us too. But literally that same week, American Dream reached out to us and was like, hey, we want you to interview for this show.
We announced to you guys, and then 24 hours later, they called us at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we're like, could you guys interview for the show tomorrow? And we were like, sure. Wow. And we have a real estate partner we work with who's on the show, and they picked 5. If you don't know, they picked 5 real estate agents within each major city. Well, not each major city, they're growing. But then they represent one from the financing sector, one team essentially. And then we interviewed, and then 48 hours after that, they picked us for the show. And then they were like, hey, you have to film your first segment in the next 3 weeks. And so we had a lot of moving parts during that time. It was
kind of crazy. There was a couple thousand that interviewed for the show.
7,000, I think is what they said. Yeah.
I mean, I was a little shooketh.
Yes. Shooketh. It was cool. And
it all happened so fast. I mean, we recorded within weeks.
A week and a half of us finding out.
But it was such a God thing, I feel like, because I feel like our first show really...
I couldn't have asked for a better first show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the partners we worked with, and we'll talk a little bit about that, in another episode, but it was awesome. And I'm really grateful we were getting to do this.
Yeah. I think for both of us first, it was hesitancy, without a doubt. It's like what comes with the TV show, what comes with the work behind it. I mean, we're already so busy right now with our main job, the mortgage company, HP Mortgage. Oh, if we haven't said that either, we're the HP Mortgage team. If you don't see our logo here, it's up there. But it was, how do we balance that workload? And really gratefully, American Dream was, they laid out that schedule for us and that calendar and said, hey, this is what your commitments are.
And also put us in like classes for the first week of like how to be in front of a TV and
training,
how to manage,
how to meet
talking to people. And I mean, they were wonderful during the process. And now we kind of get to produce our own show.
Yeah.
Not necessarily produce.
Showcase. Yeah. They give us the creative capability to pick and choose as we like. And I think that's what's really important for us is we didn't want Big Brother. It sounds terrible, but Big Brothers or someone, kind of standing over that big shoulder or your shoulder all the time. And they just don't do that. Mm-hmm. And, they're Emmy nominated. They've won 5 Telly Awards now. They're very big and
getting bigger.
Definitely getting bigger. And I think that's kind of where they're going into that next step in their business. And we're in the same position on the mortgage side. We're taking that next step. We're kind of growing that. That's where the podcast is tying in. Our YouTube channel is getting bigger. Overall things are getting what's the word I'm looking for? Larger overall at scale.
What's cool about it too is that we're able to show our heart behind the show. So it's not really showing us. That's not the purpose of it. It's we're getting to showcase other people and how to help them.
Yeah, the community. Yeah, I think that was the big thing was when we sat down and said, hey, what do we want to do? And the first thing was community. And I think that's kind of both of our hearts. A lot of our clientele base is veteran. We do specialize in VA loans and every other loan on the planet too, but VA is kind of one that's very near and dear to our heart.
So we wanted to make sure to showcase the veterans in some way for the first show, which was pretty cool.
And we did. Victory Therapy Center and Marty B's are the two that we brought in. And if you haven't gotten to see that yet, that's who we partner with. So check out our social media and we'll kind of tie that piece into our show as well.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about it on our next podcast we plan to do after the watch party and stuff and tell you more about what happened on the show. So don't want to give away too many things already.
Well, we already announced it on Instagram like the month before, so it's okay.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, so we're good. But I think overall it was really cool. But so a lot of things coming in the future. More episodes are be kind of behind the scenes of what we did on the show, again, why we chose it. And then what we're doing in the future with the show, business, lifestyle.
People that we work with, whether it's real estate agents,
insurance, attorneys. It goes on.
Title.
Everybody. I think we are consistently finding new ways to grow business. But I think
it's good too because we have so many clients that ask questions that they genuinely don't know. And I mean, when we bought this house, I didn't know anything. If it wasn't for you, I probably would have.
Shout out to her.
Yeah. Shout out to my husband. Yeah, but my boyfriend at the time.
I think we got engaged like 2 months after. Yeah. But no, it was really cool. But again, we're super grateful that you're here. And if you haven't already, if you have any mortgage questions or you have questions about the TV show and see the stuff that we're doing, feel free to reach out to us anytime. You can check out the comments below, hit us up on social media, Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards, everything but Snapchat because we don't use it. But super excited that you're here. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe channel and we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in.